I literally rushed to say yes to inviting my guest today, as I feel we resonate so much with each other, especially in respect of purpose, connecting, and authenticity. Welcome to this BVTV Saviour Asks Trilogy, coming to you from the UK Studios of BizVision. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. Now, my guest today is advertising consultant to Meta, Microsoft, Nike, as well as being the author of Saviour Asks, Evolve Your Networking Currencies, Grow Your Influence, Triple Your Business. Hello, Chris Tuff.
Thank you so much for having me, Malcolm. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited.
Well, I am too, because as I say, I genuinely resonate so much with what you say, what's in your book. I'm ready for an exciting chat. Chris, I really do, as I say, that resonate. And I've been looking forward to this trilogy. For years now, I've been saying to people, forget networking and start connecting.
Yeah.
I think you say it better, by the way. By that, I mean, as you say, building genuine and productive business relationships through networking currency. So Tell us more about how Saviour Asks can help business people deliver this.
If any of you look at, whether you're on the receiving end of people going in for the ask too early, or you're the person, I like to call them ask holes, right? It's the guy in everyone's network that goes in for 3 asks in a row. Or if you look at my inbox or your inbox, Malcolm, everyone's, hey, can I get 15 minutes of your time? Or I'd love to be featured on BVTV without even doing any research. And what I noticed when the pandemic hit, I was supposed to be on the main stage at Nike talking about my last book, The Millennial Whisperer, and all of that went away. And during that period of time, I asked myself, what is the book that I was born to write? And I also looked at my inbox. And I looked at how most people are going through their kind of networking and sales. I was like, this is the book that I was born to write. And I'm going to make the title a call to action for people to go in, save their asks, double down on genuine connection. And then out of that, you end up doing business together.
Yeah. I mean, I so take your point about everybody trying at the moment. If I get another one to tell me how I can run LinkedIn, when we've got thousands of successful connections in LinkedIn. But I love also understanding people that are into networking, like the salesman that is really the mugger, isn't he? Or the wise owl that gets a clause into you and they want to tell you that everything that they know is the best, is the right thing, isn't it? So what do you mean by networking currency?
So everyone's got a currency. And it doesn't matter what it is that you do, but we fail to define what our currency is. And that currency that everyone has is what you get paid to do. And put into context or application, my currency for the first 15 years of my career, I was the digital and social media guy. I was one of the first guys to work with Mark Zuckerberg, blah, 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 right? That's why people came to me for advice of what made me a partner at my agency. And what happens in life, Malcolm, is that one, we fail to recognize what our currency is. And then 2, we will we will no longer become passionate about that currency. And that's why one of the things I bring up in the book is that it's imperative, regardless of what your currency is that at all times we're cultivating these passions on the side. If for no other reason, to give you the momentum and to give you that fulfillment that actually fills that spot of where your passions lie. And, put into a story, I was talking to a dentist recently, and I was speaking at this big dental event. His name was Bonner, and he was a young dentist, in his late 20s. And I turned to him, and I said, what do you want? Right. And he said, well, I want a $5 million practice. I'm at 1.3 million 6 months in. I'm crushing it, but $5 million. I was like, what do you really want, Bonner? Right. Like, tell me more. Right. Like, what are some of the things? He goes, Chris, all right, fine. I'm going to tell you, because we were going up the chairlift. I finally broke him. He goes, Chris, I want to do keynotes like you do. 2, I want to be a high school football coach. And he lives in Texas. And I said, boom, there it is. You don't want a $5 million practice. You want to become that high school football coach. So here's what we're going to do, Bonner. In the next 5 months, I'm going to help you write the keynote on how dentistry is exactly like football, because we're going to bring your passion into your business. Not only that, but you're going to actually for your different, as you're trying to motivate your team, you're going to put blackout under your eyes. You're going to give away an MVP trophy, right? Like you're going to actually make football a part of your day to day. So you're more passionate about it. And he was like, oh my gosh, Chris, that makes so much sense. And one of those things that I bring up in the book is it's time for us to stop thinking about work as work, and we've got to bring our passions into it. And, you know, that's what's been, I think the biggest surprise to me, Malcolm, is the feedback of these leaders saying, Chris, don't tell anyone this, but I'm really unpassionate about what I do. Do you have any pieces of advice for me?
Yes.
And that's one of my favorite questions, right? Like the lawyer who he says to me, he's a partner at a huge firm in the US. And he says, Chris, I'm super passionate about Peloton, Nike, fitness, but I have none of that in my life. I said, perfect. That's going to be the prospects that you're going to prioritize. Name your top 5 companies. You do employment law. So use that as your foot in the door and say, Peloton, I am so, you've changed my life. And I'm an employment lawyer. I'd do anything to just try to work with you. Guess what? They're going to respond to that email. And so those are the things that obviously I get really excited about.
Do you know what I'm going to do? Because you've excited me. What I'm going to do after this, I'm going to stop being a network host and I'm going to become a dentist, because if there's a £5 million job there.
Hey, I think there's more money in the dentistry in the United States than there is in England.
Yes, without a doubt. I just love your passion, by the way. But you need that. People need that at this moment in time, don't they, Chris? Because as you know, I'm all over the world, and I'm actually close to Russia this next week and a number of things like that. And it's all a little bit depressing for people. And finding a way of connecting, I think, is really important, because that's building a relationship, isn't it?
100%. And, you know, I talk about it in the book as this concept around a race to the middle. And the story I use to demonstrate that, Malcolm, is it was my first big speech at Nike. And I went to Nike. It was like 4:30 in the morning. It was a typical Oregon morning, and it was like snowing, sleeting. I run into this Uber car and I slam the door because it was so cold. And the Uber driver turns to me and my partner that I was there with, and he goes, "What are you doing slamming this is a brand new Camry, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, my partner whispered in my ear, "This is going to be a long 45 minutes to Nike." And then I just responded back to him, "Watch this." And I saw in the Uber driver's rearview mirror a Trinidadian and Tobago flag. And I listened and I heard steel drum music. And I chimed in and I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Uber driver, but is that Trinidadian steel drums that you're playing?" And his attitude completely changed. He goes, "What? Well, yes. How do you know about that?" I was like, I'm a huge kiteboarder. I am dying to kiteboard. There is a beach right near the airport that is supposed to be the most epic kiteboarding ever. He goes, "Oh my gosh." And he starts showing me pictures of his Trinidadian home. And by the time we got to Nike, he had invited me and my family to go visit them in Trinidad. We completely turned the tables on them. And I think we forget that. We forget that, right? We forget. We just want common connections, especially when it's around common passions. And, you know, I say, there's a quote in the book. I say, curiosity is the difference between connecting and networking. And
thanks, Chris. Now let's give viewers and listeners details of your URL, which is obviously, I love it. It's so simple. Viewers, you can see it on the screen behind me, but for listeners, let me spell it out. Is all the W's, Chris, CHRIS, TUFF, ChrisTuff.me. Now, Chris's book is called Save Your Asks, Evolve Your Networking Currencies, Grow Your Influence, Triple Your Business, and it's published by Panther Press. I trust you think like me that we're off to a great start in this Save Your Asks trilogy. In episode 2, I want to ask Chris how we go from building the relationship to getting the business without appearing to be crass or just another business card sharp. Should we do that, Chris?
Let's do it.